Good morning, everybody. I am heading out to a service call for one of my 3 customers, and my 33% of my customer base here is reporting that their unit's making a loud noise. It has shut it off. It's an old Goodman unit I installed in 2004. That's right. It made it this whole time. It's 17 years old plus, and we're going to see what's going on with our loud noise here. The budget is lower now, so I'm making my own music as I drive to the jobs. Well, I heard a noise, so what I do is I like to spin the fan blade, which I've already done. It's not hitting anything. They made it sound like it was a fan blade. It could have been ice or something when it was colder. Just started up to sea, I guess. What do you guys think the problem is? A lot of help. Not much noise besides a little bit of Goodman rattle there. It's rattling around. You guys can figure that out? Check the run capacitor here. She's fine. Check the other side just in case. It's dead. Wait, no, there we are. If you guys recall, I was at this house a few months ago. We're going to correct some electrical issues, so I'm going to take this apart, run the wire outside, and put a disconnect up so the equipment can be serviced properly. I've turned the breaker off. I've checked these with the non-contact voltage detector. I'll take the wire nuts off and check them as well before I go cutting into anything, and just to make sure. And then I'm just going to stuff this wire here through the wall, run it up inside of a conduit into a disconnect, and run it into flexible conduit, new flexible conduit, to the unit itself. So I'm gonna go ahead and take care of that. Little tip right here, when you're putting these or tightening these lugs up on these wires, you hold them with something like channel locks, because this one will want to break off on you. So if you kind of hold it in place with something, might help from that occurring. Something like this. I got my whip run around here, disconnect on the wall. About to go put power on it, check the power, turn the thing back on, make sure what I wired is wired correctly. So I always make a mess around myself all the time. Such a small job, such a big mess. Seems disproportional. Disconnect is in. Second voltage over here. 245.4, looking normal. Still shaking. Homeowner came out and said that it made a loud squeal with the shaking and the high amperage on the outdoor fan motor. It's likely that that was bearing noise, but he said he's going to get another film of it, hopefully on his camera, so we can make a final determination. But we're going to be prepped for changing the fan motor unless proven otherwise. And our pressures, even though they started out lower earlier, they rebound up as time goes by. It takes a little bit of time there, and I think that's more in heating than anything else. Give it a little bit of time for those pressures to stabilize, because you'll think it's low in refrigerant, but it's not. So, all right, me and the Met-Turk here, this very fluke-like meter, almost, or maybe even better than fluke probably. And then of course my wired probes. They're not smart probes. I think they're pretty great though. We're gonna take off and get out of here with the, what other branding can we go over? Heart. There we go. Heart for a Goodman. Hey, perfect. Something I failed to mention, that you can always take a look inside and see if the blades are cracked. Now, it kind of occurred to me right here in this moment. I took a look at them already, but you can kind of take a look just to make sure that the blades don't have a crack or just a fracture that's going to cause them to come out of balance and damage a motor. This one looked fine, so I think it's just a motor that's getting old and needs to be replaced, but it's a good idea to take a look just in case. Well, I am heading out now. So the findings were the fan motor looks like it's the culprit, making a screeching sound. Maybe just when it gets really cold outside, when it hasn't started in a while and it's cold. I'm not quite sure. Doesn't sound like it's a defrost issue. A lot of times we have a reversing valve stuck in defrost. You'll have some clanking. It's almost like a glass rattle sound. It's really rough sound. It's like a three-phase compressor running backwards. It sounds really bad. Of course, the compressor could sound like that too, but he described it as more of a screech. So bearing noise with the high amperage on the fan, that kind of supports that. Went ahead and updated some of the electrical stuff to make it a little bit safer, because there's no shut off out there for someone who's working on it, and for me that's really important, obviously. So I want to go ahead and put that shut off out there, so we wired it up and made sure everything was working right. And that's about it. Gonna have to go back eventually, I'm sure, for maybe that fan motor or whatever issues being caused. And there's a little bit more electrical on the package unit that needs to be made safer as well. You can see in some previous posts. So I am heading out of here in the middle of nowhere, heading back to pick up little Jackson from his daycare, and I'll see you guys on the next one.